Because seriously, this problem belongs to one person and one person only.
Yeah.
Misha Collins. And now, before we leave stage, Rob Benedict would like to do a free-form rap about Misha's new shoes. Steven?
I don't know why I'm doing this rap. I don't know why I do anything rich. Something new, but hey, we got new shoes. We got new shoes. What do I do? What do I do? I don't know. He's got new shoes. He's got new shoes.
In improv, that's one of the cardinal rules. You don't do that to someone. It's like, oh my God, I just got the most depressing letter from your mother. Here, read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Misha, I'm not a cardinal, so the rule doesn't apply to me.
What the hell?
You're welcome.
Because he said cardinal rule.
You know, some people like to warm up a crowd, but Rich just likes to cool the crowd down. It makes you work for your paycheck. Makes me proud of you. Enjoy. Misha Collins, everybody. Unbelievable. I'm going to try to draw attention to this as much as possible, but I'm about to turn 50, which is... Thank you. I cannot wait to see what you all got for me. When we've all known each other, this Supernatural cast, for a long time, and Richard Speight was the first one to cross the 50-year-old threshold, and it felt like a really big deal to us because we were all like, oh my God, like our dear friend is about to die. And so I don't remember who, but we had this big text thread, and someone came up with the idea, like, what if we all pitch in and get Speight something really nice for his 50th? And someone came up with the idea of getting him like a Rolex watch, like something, it's gonna cost $10,000. And everybody had to like be like, okay, and we chipped in, and we got him this really fancy watch, which of course, he was very grateful. No, he was ungrateful about it, but anyway. But then we were all like, can't wait to see what happens when I turn 50. But then like a bunch of us have turned 50 and we were all like, we're not doing that anymore, like what's gonna break the bank? So it's been like a one sort of cascading disappointment after another. But I don't know if this story has been shared, it's not my story to share. So here it is. So Rob and Jensen were walking down the street, and Jensen and Jared, they have like nice things. Like they have nice watches and nice mansions. And they were walking along the street and they came upon a Rolex store. Do you guys know this story?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, enough of you said no, that those of you who said yes, you're going to have to slog through it. So they came up on a Rolex store, and Jensen was like, Bobby, you got this watch? And Rob's like, no. Rob, it might be time to get you a watch. And Rob had just turned 50. And Rob was like, oh my God. Jensen's gonna buy a new watch. That's amazing. So they went into the Rolex store, and Jensen was like, Robbie, why don't you try that one on? Rob tried watch after watch. Jensen's like, that one there looks really good. What do you think, Rob? And Rob's like, yeah, it looks really good. And Jensen was like, "That's the one, Robbie." And then he pulled out his phone and walked out of the store. And then Rob was left standing there with the salesman with the right watch. And then he felt like he had to buy it. Anyway, his now ex-wife was really upset. Really not my story to share, but oh well. Well, thrilled to be here in Austin. Is anyone from Austin? This is mostly, basically not. It's almost all out of towners. This is my first time in Austin in my entire life, which is crazy. For years, I've been talking to Jared and Jensen, like, you gotta come down there, we gotta come visit, come stay anytime, and it just has never worked out. And so I'm very excited to explore the city. And if anyone has any advice for me, let me know. Radio company Monday night, I'll be gone. Yeah, thanks. Would anyone like to ask any questions or have it make any comments? You want to start?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Hi, Misha. I'm Summer. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. So, in my opinion, what makes good media for TV shows, movies, and books is when the creator knows from start to finish how the story is going to go and doesn't just kind of chuck along of coming up as they go. And I was wondering what examples of either TV shows, movies, or books that come to your mind when you think of a well thought out storyline or just story plot.
Well, not Supernatural. That's right, they can't fire me now. Although Warner Brothers keeps sending me these letters, letting me know that I've been let go. I think they want to fire me again. I did this show called Gotham Knights, and I thought that they did a really impressive job of creating an arc over the course of the one season that we had before we were ceremoniously canceled. But all of the threads, all of the seeds that were sown in the very beginning of the season got paid off in the end, and it was very clear that the showrunners had a clear vision of exactly where things were going. They didn't drop any balls. It wasn't like the amulet. What happened to that fucking thing? And then, yeah, maybe we should bring that thing back. On Supernatural, we had this great thing where it was like, okay, so now, Misha, you're gonna touch the person and make them pass out, and then everybody be like, okay, great. And then we get on the set. Okay, wait, how do you do that again? Is that this or is that this? Is that on the show? And nobody would remember like what it was. And then the first AD would be like, come on, nobody cares, just do it. So that was the spirit with which we followed through on important details.
You can tell later that we
I would always be the one like, but isn't that like wrong? Like historically, haven't we done something different? And everybody in the crew would be like, Misha, don't pull the thread. Don't pull the thread. That was the refrain on set. Do you have any good examples? I mean, I think there are a bunch of shows that I really loved that I felt like had really strong. Westworld. Did you ever see Westworld?
I did not.
It's a fantastic and incredibly high budget. At the time that it was made, it was the most expensive TV show ever made. And I thought it was incredible at first. And then they kind of just started trying to figure out how to make it longer. And it got incredibly convoluted, and you could tell they didn't really know where it was going. I think that happens a lot. There was a show called Heroes that I thought was like awesome for the first season. And then it was like, okay, so unfortunately now we have to do a second season. And it just kind of didn't have that vision for the big picture. Kripke had a 5-year vision. And I think that the arc was pretty tight for those first 5 years on Supernatural. And there were definitely a few decades where it felt like we were. Thank you. Is there anything you would like to say? Like, this sounded like almost like a question
Yeah,
that was like masquerading as a harshly worded criticism.
No, I just wanted recommendations because I'm gonna watch what you just told me to watch because I love stories that you can tell that they thought about from start to finish what was going to happen. And so that to me is what makes good media, and I've been searching to find it and struggling. So,
The Matrix is another great example. The first Matrix was like the tightest, most perfect script, and then they were like, then Warner Brothers said, "You guys, we made so much money. Let's do more Matrixes." That was a bad call. Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So I was going to bring up your birthday, but then you went ahead and did it anyway.
No, we can talk about it more.
You know.
No, let's do it.
Well, I feel like you took the thunder out from under me, so I'm just.
Oh, wow, that's a nice feature, the light.
Thank you.
It's a little beauty lighting.
It's glamour shot.
Is this a new thing that we're doing? That's always been there, and I've never noticed it. This is one of my first few hundred creation conventions, so I didn't notice it until now. Well, tell me more about my birthday.
So, no, you tell me more. I'm very curious what you maybe want to happen or hope will happen for you once you turn that big 50, or what you hope will not happen to you.
I sincerely hope that Jensen doesn't take me watch shopping. I had a little gathering last week of a bunch of friends and family, and it was really lovely. My daughter made me a present, which was very touching. I can't remember what it's called. There's a Japanese name for it, but basically it's a mud ball. She said she worked on it for 12 hours. I don't know. That's a pretty good question. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I was in my mid-20s, and I had like 2 phone numbers, and one of them was for the cinematographer of a movie that I had very briefly worked on before getting out there, and I met with him, and he said he was in his 50s, and he said, "Misha, the 50s are the best. It's like you figured your shit out. You still have your health and your vitality, and you're in command of yourself career-wise. It's really the best." And as he was talking, I was, thinking the obvious, like, oh my God, this is so sad. And I have to say, it's kind of true. I feel like I'm starting to feel like a grown-up, but I still am basically super childish, and I feel pretty healthy. I only have a few artificial joints. I'm excited about the next chapter. I really am. And with technology going the way it is, I think we're all going to live to be 160, 170. So this is just the beginning. Hi.
Hey, I'm Michaela.
Hi, Michaela.
My question is, what do you think Cass's biggest pet peeves are about Sam and Dean?
They never let him drive the Impala. Sam farts a lot in the Impala. Well, it may be Jared in your eyes, but when Cass and Sam and Dean are riding in the Impala, Sam is farting. And it's horrible. I don't even know. I think that angels don't even have terribly well-attuned olfactory centers, but it actually changes the viscosity of the air. And it makes it difficult to breathe because it's like trying to suck in sludge. This is a little bit of a sidebar, but Jared went through a phase where he was in contention for the role of Conan, for the movie Conan, and he was doing a lot of weightlifting, trying to like bulk up, which meant he was eating a calf every day. They had a little like horse trailer that they brought around with us, and it was full of baby calves. And Jared would say that one, and every day, and he was trying to eat so much protein and so quickly that they were just putting these calves into blenders. It was a lot to observe, and usually when we got into a scene, like he had sort of blood dripping down his neck, and somebody would have to come and wipe it up, you know. That's all true. I feel like, though, you've taken us a little bit off track here. That's okay. No need to apologize. Let's just try to bring it back.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. They made him do all the cleaning.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, in fairness, he was up all night, and they were sleeping, and he had nothing to do. So it made sense that he was sort of like basically the live-in maid. But there wasn't a lot of gratitude about that. If you'll notice, like not a lot of, hey, Cass, thanks for cleaning everything up. Like, oh, I noticed the bunker doesn't have dust anywhere. That's really nice. Thanks, Cass. That must have been you last night. You never heard them say that. It was kind of like he was totally taken for granted. And, you know, what did he get in payment?
Nothing.
Nothing. Maybe he got to watch them sleep. You know?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So being someone who is reaching a significant milestone, and that tends to
Are you talking about yourself?
No.
Are you talking about A-list status?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought. Okay.
That tends to come with a certain amount of
That's right.
reflection.
But that's right. Yes. People tend to get more famous as they get older. I've noticed that all of the agencies in Hollywood are scrambling to get the most senior actors on their rosters.
That should be a thing. What is it, as you reflect, that you would most like to be known for, and has it happened?
Oh, no, it has not happened yet. And I think I would ultimately like to be someone who sets a good example for others in terms of like, oh, that person lived a good life. I would like to live a life like that. I would very much love it if my kids at some point felt that way. They don't feel that way currently, I've noticed. But that would be an ambition of mine. And also, I think it would be really lovely. It's very easy in our civilization to be discontent all the time. I think it's kind of like the driving force behind most of what we do. It's this chronic, persistent dissatisfaction that we all suffer from. And I would love to get to a place in my own life where I feel content. My kids don't see me as an example that they want to follow so much as someone that they want to destroy and humiliate. When my son was little, he was really bad at losing. He just hated losing. It just made him sulk and be depressed and despondent. And so I thought, as his parent, I should just give him as much practice with losing as possible. A lot of parents are like, oh, they'll let the kid win. So I just beat him at everything. We would play chess, and I would like put him in checkmate right away. And I beat him in Scrabble before he even knew how to read. And I took him to a climbing wall. There was this climbing wall in Bellingham, Washington, where we lived at the YMCA. It was the tallest climbing wall in the Pacific Northwest. It was like 100 feet tall. And two people were climbing parallel with ropes. We got our ropes on, and we started climbing up. And I got up to about 10 feet before my legs just started shaking. Even though I was roped in, I was like, this doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be up here. And he scrambled up next to me, and he got about 7 or 8 feet above me, and he looked down, and he must have been 8 or 9 years old at the time. He looked down at me, and he said, Dad? And I was like, yeah? I was like, he's going to throw me a line or save me here somehow. And he just said, Dad, I'm going to beat you at everything. If we play ping pong a lot now, and if I beat him 1 out of 6 or 7 games, I'm like, yeah, you suck. But we'll be playing those games that I win might be when he's like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do a pirouette between each time I hit, or I'm playing left-handed this time. We played chess recently, and I was like, Wes, do you want to play chess? And he's like, not really. And I was like, come on. He's like, it's no fun, Dad. All right, fine, we'll play. I'll take off my rooks and my bishops, and then we'll start. And he had me in checkmate in like 2 minutes. It was so depressing. He does beat me at everything. And that's his whole mission in life.
You raised him well.
Yeah, thanks. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I'm Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
My question is regarding if we were to have a celebration or a day to celebrate Cass, Castiel Day, if you want to call it that, what anniversary would you use to mark that occasion? And if you also have an answer for Team Free Will as a whole. So one for Cass and one for Team Free Will.
I think Team Free Will would probably have to celebrate heading off the apocalypse. That could be like their 4th of July kind of thing. Castiel, what would he celebrate? What do you think he would celebrate? The pizza man? That's not a bad idea. That could be his thing. Like the first time that Castiel watched porn, for him, like that marks the point when everything changed for him.
Yeah, that was a really big day for him. So I would understand celebrating that.
Yeah, that was an enormous day for him. I mean, if you think about the fact that his true form is the size of the Chrysler building. That's going to be quite an appendage, right? I mean, it would cast a shadow city blocks long.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. So hi everybody, I'm a lesbian. I wasn't. Never crossed my mind. I thought you were going to say like when he maybe pulled Dean out of hell or. My eyes have been opened today.
My question, I think I stumbled onto a theme of this panel of reflection. My question is about your last filming day and the fact that at the time you had to say goodbye to Cass, you almost died in a plane crash, and then had COVID happen. Now that we're like 5 years removed from that, have you reflected upon that time and like how emotionally tumultuous it was? And
Yes, I have. It was an interesting. For those of you who don't know, I'll just sort of give you the cliff notes. But basically, the last night of filming that I had on Supernatural wasn't supposed to be my last night because I was supposed to come back for the finale. But it was my character's goodbye to basically to the cast and crew. I wasn't going to see them again for months. Weird freeze frame. Misha apocalypse. My character was saying goodbye to Dean, and also having this like very meaningful and poignant declaration of love, which I found personally and politically meaningful. And then it was me saying goodbye to the cast and crew, and then COVID had like just started, and it was making everybody nervous. And we were going to this convention in Las Vegas, but there was this creation convention. But it was like right at that tipping point where people were like, wait, are we still doing this, or is it going to get shut down? And then because we had to film, it was the last night of a long, it was Friday night of a long week of filming. It was the last scene on Friday night, so we didn't finish until like 1 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was tired, and it was very emotional, and I was like crying as Castiel, but crew members were crying as like friends of me who were saying goodbye to me and saying goodbye to Castiel, because everybody actually like felt emotional about the character as well. And then we all, because we had a convention in the morning, the only way for us to get there was that Creation had to charter a jet to get us to Vegas in time. And so we drove directly from set to get on the plane. The plane took off, and like 10 minutes into the flight, the engine exploded. And it was like this bright flash and this loud boom, and then the plane was just like shaking like this. And we had to turn around and do this emergency landing, and there were like 7 fire engines on the tarmac. And as we were coming down, we were all texting our wives, like, tell the kids I love them, because we really didn't know if we were going to crash or not. And so it was all super emotional. Then we came to the convention late, and then 2 days later, everything was shut down for COVID. And I had thought this moment was going to be this big transition for me, where I was going to have like this time to breathe and think about what the next step and next chapter of my life was. And instead, like the shutdown of COVID just made everything sort of close in and feel claustrophobic. And it led to like a bit of a weird midlife crisis, and ultimately I think that divorce, and it was a strange, challenging chapter for me, but it also felt like a molting. Like I was shedding an old skin and something new was emerging.
Your wings.
And yes, spreading my broken wings. And but I'm actually really grateful for that challenging chapter, because I think that that's when we actually learn and grow the most. So, yeah.
So I know you're a big NPR fan and nerd, and I was curious if you could host any NPR show, what you would host and why.
Well, I worked, when I was a kid, a high school kid, I got like jobs on farms, and I would always have a radio playing and while I was like doing the work, and I was always listening to NPR. And so I listened to all of the NPR shows. This was back before you could, pick a podcast or, or even like music that you wanted to hear. It was just whatever was playing on the radio. And so I listened to Garrison Keillor, Wobegon, Lake Wobegon, what is it?
Prairie Home Companion.
Prairie Home Companion. Click and Clack, Hard Talk, Fresh Air, and of course, All Things Considered, and Born Musician, all those shows. And I was such a fan of NPR. I was so into it that I thought, like, that's what I was going to do when I grew up. And there was I mentioned him before, but Bob Garfield did these radio episodes that were just like so amazing, where he would basically like con his way into things. He did this one, it was like Bob Garfield Goes to Nashville. He was in Nashville for a conference, and he saw all of these like little recording studios, and he thought to himself, like, how hard could it be to make a hit country music song? And he made this radio episode about it. He literally goes into a recording studio and says, hey, I'd like to write a hit country music song. And they're like, who F are you, old Jewish NPR reporter guy? And he's like, no, I have a great idea. It's about like voicemail and playing phone tag. And they're all like, Anyway, he does this whole 20-minute long episode that ends with Johnny Cash singing his song. It's amazing. Anyway, he was a real inspiration for me. But I was such a fan and such a nerd about NPR. People ask me like, I come to your conventions, what are you nerdy about? One of the things that I was really nerdy about was NPR. When I was 18, my girlfriend, who then became my wife, got me a birthday present. We were in Washington, D.C., and she was taking me somewhere, and she told me to put on a nice shirt. And I was like, tell me where you're taking me. And she was really bad at keeping secrets. And she was like, no, I'm not going to spoil this one. And I was like, come on, just tell me. Give me a hint. She was like, no. And then she said, and then I said, well, how about you tell me the address of where we're going? And she said, 2020 M Street Northwest. And I was like, oh, that's NPR headquarters. I know where you're taking me. So I don't know. Something like Bob Garfield's episodes, though, I think is what I would like to do if I ever were to do something like that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
I mean, you do a podcast.
I do.
Yeah. I also do think about making a podcast because I think it's a great excuse to lure people in that you would like to talk to about interesting people, about interesting things.
Oh, I know. I tried to interview you.
Well, but see, the difference between what I'm saying interesting people about interesting things. But I think it could be an incredibly, I don't know, personally enriching opportunity to get to talk to, find an excuse to talk to the people that you both want to talk to. So I do fantasize about that as well.
Yeah. Well, if you want help getting set up, let me know.
All right, thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I'm Angel.
Hi, Angel.
First off, I'd like to say Castiel is my all-time favorite character. I grew up on the show, so that's been like a constant in my life forever. So thank you for that.
It's funny because that makes me feel good and bad at the same time. First of all, you have incredible taste, and also you seem like an adult. You are an adult? Yeah. I don't even remember what it was like to be 19. So.
Because of that, I've watched Castiel's storylines over and over again, and I have to ask if there's any storyline of Cassius or Art that you would add, change, or delete looking back, which one would it be?
I would have done a better job on a few of the iterations of Castiel, like Crazy Cass or Nazi Cass. How did we all collectively decide, like, well, that seems like a good idea? And I would have liked to have had Cass be a human for longer. And, yeah. And I think it would have been cool to see, like, actually depict on screen Cass's true form and that appendage. It's one of the great unresolved mysteries. Is it angular? You know? Welcome.
That's not what I was thinking.
You're 19 now, so we can talk about this stuff. It's totally fine. I mean, it's mostly fine. Yeah, hi.
Hi. Just a quick shout out to the creation staff who are working really hard to let us have fun this weekend. They're doing a really great job.
That was very nice of you. None of us ever think to be gracious or grateful, so thank you for doing it on our behalf.
I can tell there's a lot of people here today. It's fun. Is there anything that you can tell us that you have coming up that's not too spoilery? Like not too much of a spoiler, like a new book or roadshow?
I am working on a movie that I'm working with a couple of really great writers on a script that I think is quite close to finish. And I think it's going to be quite good. It's sort of about the American politics and how we're tearing ourselves apart with our divisiveness, and we're unable to see one another for the humanity underneath because of these hard lines that we've drawn in the sand. And I'm excited to make that movie. So that is really the thing that I have coming up. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. There's two people ahead of me asked the two questions I was going to ask you.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, I
This is going to be an awkward,
so,
lot
yeah, it will be.
fill the dead space here.
No, I had this one really weird question I was going to ask. I'm like, that's too weird. No, I'll just ask some normal stuff. And then they both did.
They ask normal stuff?
Yes, you're going to get my
So,
weird
and now you
That's all I
all
have
that
left.
you're left is this super weird question?
Yeah, I had three questions and they asked.
Can I say it does sound a little bit like a cover? I don't know you and I don't want to cast aspersions, but to me, intuitively, it feels like you were going to ask this weird question all along, but you're trying to masquerade as a normal hard person, painted into a corner by the fact that these other people basically usurped your questions. You see how I could think that?
I do. And I was going to ask if you wanted a weird question or a normal question, but the two normal questions I had,
They've been
they just asked.
taken, plagiarized possibly.
Yeah.
Were you talking out loud in a line about your questions?
No, I wasn't.
Do you think that they might have been clairvoyant? I hate it when that happens. That's why I try to have a very confusing thought pattern in my head so people can't steal my ideas. You ever try that?
No one took the weird one, so.
What's that?
No one took the weird one, so I guess I got that.
Well, it might have been too weird for them, and they probably thought, what kind of excuse could I come up with to ask this question and make myself not look really weird?
Okay, so. Theory in my head, and I'm curious if there's any merit to it. So it's fairly well known that you've gotten hand-me-down clothes from Jensen.
Right.
And I was just wondering, when he got the role for Soldier Boy and had to bulk up a lot, then he would have to bigger clothes. And then, like, you seem more muscular than you had when you were younger. So I was wondering if you did that to stay in sync size-wise.
I really thought I was going to be able to skate by with that. Look, here's the thing. I really hate working out, but I also am very frugal. And I can't stand the thought of going out and buying my own clothing, right? And so I had to run the calculus. Like, am I going to work out, or am I going to squander money when Jensen only wears clothing once? And I could wear, and I don't want to be swimming in Jensen's clothes because then it makes me look foolish and frail, right? I will tell you one secret that has been really helpful for me. I figured out as you may know, I'm a man of advancing age. I'm in my late middle age now, and what I've noticed is you can take the visceral fat and gently massage it up your body. It's almost like molding clay. And you can sort of pack it into sort of fetching contours on your body, and it'll look like you have musculature. So I figured out how to avoid going to the gym by just massaging. It's good if you do it right after a hot shower, I find. But then you have to be careful not to do too much jumping because it can then fall back down again. That's why you see I stand pretty still. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for noticing. I don't know what's happened. I'm sorry. Hi.
Hi, my name's Leah.
Hi, Leah.
We were talking about tattoo stuff and everything. I figured tattoo.
Yeah, that sounds fitting. Yeah. You can ask a question about Castiel, that's okay.
Remember when Rowena and the trickster were being adults behind the bookcase and Patrick was just standing there staring at the floor?
Yes.
I've always wondered what he was thinking of that.
You know what the terrible thing that I have to confess is right now? I have no fucking recollection of what she's talking about. So Cass, wait, Rowena and the trickster went at it at one point?
How did you forget that?
Oh my God, that must have been designed just to make Rob Benedict crazy with jealousy. That's so mean.
No wonder he wants his life.
Well, you know, with age and the memory.
This is taking a turn. Young lady, I will have you know that my cognitive functioning is pretty good. I recently had a cognitive functioning test. And they said I was okay. It might not look like it when I'm up here with the microphone and no teleprompter. I am veering off course a bit, I notice. But look at this crowd, huh? Nobody has crowds this big. Well, I don't remember, but I can only imagine that he was wondering why he wasn't invited to join in. They were probably intimidated by his appendage. Yes. Oh, God. Hi.
Hi, Misha. My name's Erin.
Hi, Erin.
My question is, if you had to have a song lyric tattooed on your body, what lyric would you pick and where would you put it?
Get it?
What, do you have a song lyric tattooed to you?
I do.
What is it?
It's You Belong Among the Wildflowers.
Oh, so you're sort of speaking to bees.
Well, funnily enough, I love that song. I love the lyric. I think it's a beautiful song, and it speaks to a lot of things that are really important to me. But in addition to that, it's the name of one of my favorite supernatural fan fictions.
Oh, really?
So the tattoo is both song lyric and Castiel inspired.
Aw, that's very cute. I'm glad I asked. God, this is a question that I have not given any thought to. Anybody have any inspiration for me? What?
Dig down in Dallas.
She is recommending Dick down in Dallas.
Quite what I was thinking.
I can see why you would say that. I don't know. I'll have to find you in the autograph line and have an answer for you, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. You seem to have a great relationship with your kids, and I was always wondering, like, what do they think about you doing convention and your job? Like, what are their thoughts on that?
My kids. I I think I do have a pretty good relationship with my kids. We have a lot of fun together, and they still want to spend time with me, which is remarkable. I went through a period in their earlier childhood when I was too busy with work and I just wasn't focusing on them enough. And I realized actually part of that transition that I was talking about, like post-COVID, in that chapter, I realized their childhood is fleeting. And actually, this is what I want to spend my time on. I want to actually be able to be present with my kids. And that has been really wonderful for me. They know what I do, and I, like they love Billie Eilish, and I found out that Billie Eilish named her cat Misha after me because she's a Supernatural fan, and I was like, kids, Billie Eilish named her cat after me, and my son was like, no, she didn't, and I said, yeah, she did. She actually did. Her cat's name is Misha, and it's named after me. And he was like, Dad, stop bragging. And there's nothing that I can do to impress them, and it drives me up the wall. And like we'll be out somewhere shopping. This happened just recently, and somebody came up and they're like, oh my god, I love you so much. Can I get a picture with you? And West is there, and he's just like. And then they walked away, and he's like, I hate it when that happens, because I can see your ego just getting bigger. When he was really little, I mean, maybe 7, we were at the National Zoo in D.C., and for some reason it was a day when there were a bunch of people coming up and taking pictures. Sometimes I can go hours without it, it's terrible, but there were a bunch of people coming up and taking pictures, and a small group of like teenage girls came up and they're like, yeah, can we get a picture? And he's like, oh great, more fans. So that was sweet. But it's actually really great the degree to which they don't care about any of that stuff. I mean, I would wish they cared a little bit more, but they seem totally unfazed. It doesn't seem to factor in for them. I mean, every once in a while, like my son, and this is probably testament to my poor parenting, has watched The Boys. In fairness, he's almost 14. It's like, I know it's not okay, but anyway, he's watched The Boys and he's like, Dad, when are you gonna get on The Boys? You gotta do it. So there's like little things where I think that he gets excited about it, and I think that he hasn't watched Supernatural yet, but he's going to, and then he's going to be even more disappointed in me. Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Marina. I was really curious if there is a book that is maybe the most impactful for you, or your favorite book that you think you would recommend everyone should read in their lifetime?
Well, those might be two different things. There are a few novels that I've read and really love, but they're kind of particular to my taste. I think I read a book called The Annals of the Former World by John McPhee. It's small print, large pages, 600 and something pages long, a tome about geology. So not everyone's cup of tea. But I loved it because I have always had this thing, which is, what happened? Too old for that. For me, looking up at the stars has always been kind of therapeutic because if I look up at the stars and I think all of the stars we're looking at are stars within our own galaxy, but there are actually billions of other stars and billions of other galaxies, and we are just this tiny speck of dust in this vast space. Somehow that always makes me feel better when I'm feeling down, because that perspective makes me realize my problems just don't matter. And that's very soothing to me. And this book, Annals of the Former World, is about geology, but it's about really the spectrum of time. So the stars are the spectrum of space and distance, and the geology book is about time and just how long the span of history is. If I outstretch both arms like that, all of human existence, the amount of time that humans have been on the planet, would be removed by a single stroke of a medium grit nail file from your fingernail. Like, that's it. We're just a tiny, tiny sliver in the span of time. And that also makes me feel better, somehow. I'm not sure why. Probably it should fill me with despair and insignificance, but it doesn't. Thanks.
Were to give you a call and say, hey, we need you on The Boys, what would your superpower be?
Well, so interestingly,
Not Cass's superpower.
I know my character's superpower on The Boys, right? It's funny because I actually had given that some thought, and I was like, oh, I hope he gives me a call, but unfortunately it's been usurped. What I was thinking was like, I would love to be able to repeatedly eat my own ass. When Rob told me about his role, because it's like, oh, you got on The Boys, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, but here's the thing. I texted Eric and I was like, Eric, you're such a dick. It's like, you're like, oh, I helped make Rob's career, and now I'm just going to destroy it. It's like, you really do think you're God. I do think part of what he's doing, like stroking his beard, you know, now Eric Kripke has like a long beard and incredibly long fingernails. He's kind of gnarled, and he sits there typing away. He's like, how can I destroy Benedict's life? But he does that, I think, a little bit for all of the actors. Like, he's like, you know, I could have him fucking octopus. I can do whatever I want. This is great. Oh, they signed the contract. They have to do it. When Jensen got on, apparently the opening scene, Jensen's opening scene is like on The Boys is a sex scene with like two old ladies, right?
No, it was one of the scenes. It was one of the scenes.
His ass?
Yeah. It was one of the
Well,
scenes.
okay, apparently you all know very well. It may have been the first thing that he filmed on The Boys. I'm not sure. I think it was the first thing that he filmed. So it was his first day on set, and it was this scene, like this sex scene. And what Kripke had written was even worse than what made it on camera. And Jensen had to be like, so how about not that? But even with Jensen, he's like, what can I do with Jensen? So I can't wait to see what he does to me. No, I actually, mostly because my son would be so excited, I would actually love to do something on The Voice. So, Eric, I know you watch all of these panels on YouTube. Just a little shout out to you. Okay. I hear people, hold on. Hold on a second. Oh, you're still here. Okay. There's a bunch of people creeping around back there. Whose turn is it? Hi.
I'm sorry if this is a lame question, but like, do you have a phrase that like, I don't know, gets you through the day, gets you through like a tough time in life, or even just makes you feel good if you want to feel good?
I used to say this thing, which is pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, which I read in a book by Murakami, and then I realized, oh, that's actually a load of horseshit, because sometimes pain becomes suffering, and it is not a choice. But there is one that has always been useful to me. She's moving. She doesn't want to be in the splash zone. This too shall pass.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, awesome.
This too shall pass.
Now, I know you're very kind to be like, so two things are gonna happen, if you don't mind, you're gonna indulge me. Today is my son Frank's 13th birthday. If you don't listen to the podcast, you have news from the world for Frank's fate, we do that. So, with your blessing, and the band's blessing and Misha's blessing, we're gonna sing Happy Birthday to Frank, we're gonna film it, since I'm not with him. So, Robin, will you give you a intro?
Frank, you know we love you. Misha loves you.
I love you.
The band loves you, and the people love you, Frank. This one's for you. We love you more than your dad loves you. We love you more than your dad. Happy birthday to you. I'm your actual father. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Frank. You're a real teenager now, Frank.
Yeah, man.
Happy birthday to you. It's fun to support Rich pretending he has kids.
I know. That was actually just a warm-up, because now we have to sing Happy Birthday to somebody else. Ladies and gentlemen,
Today's the party. Happy birthday to you. You sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Misha. Happy birthday to you.
I'm still wearing pants. Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins!
Thank you. Happy birthday, Mitch. Happy birthday, buddy. He's our cool. If I sing loud enough, I can drown you out, which is perfect.
That's also where you talk loud backstage too, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Rich, how are you?
Hey guys,
Ladies and gentlemen, next to the stage, the maestro